The knight shows our hero the cottage where Anna will be staying. The prince is pretty impressed with the cottage, especially since it was prepared on such short notice. Just then, the knight announces Anna's arrival. When our hero turns around, he sees her in a maid's attire, looking absolutely stunning. He's pleasantly surprised and amazed at how well the clothes turned out. He asks her if she's comfortable in her new outfit. But instead of being happy, she starts a tirade, questioning why he's giving shelter to a murderer like her, someone tainted with evil and loathed by everyone. The prince surprises her by stating that he doesn't see things that way. He dismisses all the talk about evil witches and devils' powers as nonsense. He explains that people are just scared because they don't understand her significance to society. He extends his hand, telling her he accepts her despite her flaws. He promises to teach her how to use her powers for good and to make a positive impact on the world. Once inside the empty cottage, Anna immediately starts practicing, unleashing her fiery powers. However, as flames scatter around uncontrollably, our hero realizes teaching her magic control is going to be tougher than he thought. On top of that, there's the issue that every time she uses her powers, her clothes get incinerated, leaving her embarrassed and naked. Both of them feel awkward, but our hero is relieved he had prepared multiple sets of clothes ahead of time. Just then, the old man bursts in with urgent news. While gasping for breath, he shocks everyone by reporting that their patrols have spotted signs of demon activity months earlier than expected this year. Of course, our hero has no clue about these months of demons, and seeing everyone terrified only piques his curiosity further. The old man reveals to the clueless prince that every winter, after the first snowfall and when the sun sets, the gates of hell open in the Dragonspine Mountains. Border Town isn't defensible, so everyone must flee to Longsong Fortress. However, the old man reassures him that his safety is their top priority. Curious, the boy asks if the old man has seen these gates of hell himself. The old man replies no, explaining that it's impossible for them to see such things. The Dragonspine Mountains are not only impassable, but also emit a foul miasma that affects anyone who gets too close, unless they've already fallen into the devil's grasp, meaning only witches can explore the area and see the gates of hell. The prince then wonders if the old man has ever encountered demons. Once again, the answer is no. It's his first time in the central region of Grey Castle, and hardly anyone's ever come face to face with a real demon. Looks like it makes sense to our hero why this place doesn't thrive with a bustling economy, because people always get evacuated at the end of every year. The boy then raises a valid point, which is that if Longsong Fortress can fend off the demons, it means they're not invincible. So keeping that in mind, he is itching to throw down with these demons by himself. The old man is terrified by this plan, and explains that Longsong Fortress has massive walls and Duke Rayon's elite troops stationed there. They're formidable, and Border Town is located in the North Slope Mountains, which serve as an early warning system for Longsong Fortress about impending threats. But our hero remains resolute and instructs the old man to gather local soldiers who have experience fighting demons. In the bright day under this gazebo, we see our duo having afternoon snacks, and while they are at it, the prince requests her to tell him something about months of demons. The lady immediately complies. Her tone gets somber as she describes the hellish experience of the months of demons. Unlike big shots like our hero, commoners here deal with this nightmare every single year. She explains that her father, a miner like many others in town, struggles daily to survive. When the months of demons begin, the people of Border Town send their year's mining production to Longsong Fortress in exchange for next year's rations and some gold royals. During this time, everyone takes shelter at Longsong Fortress until winter passes. One year, the months of demons lasted a brutal 4 months straight. City officials at Longsong Fortress said the ore they produced in autumn could only buy 3 months' worth of food. The 4th month's supply had to wait for new ore. But the months of demons lasted another extra month, which trapped the people inside the fortress. And to top it off, the grub from Longsong was divided between people equally, leading to the strong bullying the weak. The prince gets ticked off hearing her sad story, and he straight up tells the lady that no one's gonna suffer through those months of demons again. Leaving the gazebo, our hero asks to meet with the consultant to check on progress. The scene shifts to the Border Town Administrative Office, where Consultant Baroff has brought 3 folks. 2 are soldiers, big shots in charge of the Border Town patrol and lighting the beacon every year. The 3rd is a hunter who claims he's faced demons before, even bagging one himself. At first, One of the scared soldiers stumbles through his words in front of the prince, muttering gibberish that makes no sense. The prince then nudges the other soldier to speak up. The other one then explains that the demons used to be regular critters in the forest, but the evil miasma turned them into savage beasts. They're tough, but still killable. Once the months of demons wrap up, Longsong Fortress sends out cavalry to mop up any stragglers in the area. That's when the hunter slams his fist on the ground like he's showing off, boasting that those monsters are as easy as slicing cucumbers with his sword, and he's taken down 2 already. The big guy then drops to his knees before our prince. The consultant introduces the hunter as Iron Axe, saying there's gossip he's so tall because of his giant monster blood in his veins from the Mojin clan. Our hero asks him straight up if his stories are true. Iron Axe nods confidently, saying he's already killed a demonic boar and a wolf type. Iron Axe explains how hunters categorize demons. As the guard mentioned, these critters started out as regular animals but went berserk after they got a taste of hell miasma, and which is why they're such a pain. The wolf type is sneaky and lightning fast, and the wild boar has a tough back which is so thick that even crossbows struggle to pierce it. The prince quickly realizes that these demons are essentially animals, but with enhanced traits. The hunter agrees, saying they don't pose much of a threat. However, he gets serious when discussing hybrid types, calling them the true spawn of the devil. He explains that these monsters are horrifying creations that only hell could concoct. Describing one hybrid, the hunter mentions it had the body and legs of a rugged beast, but also sported huge wings for short-distance flight. What's more, its senses were keen, always pinpointing its prey no matter how well hidden. The hunter barely survived by diving into the Redwater River before losing consciousness. It seems our hero can handle the regular monsters with big walls, but he's stumped on how to deal with those that can fly. He then asks his knight if those hybrid demon types are supposed to be rare, and the knight nods firmly, saying during any months of demons, you'll usually get 2 or 3 of those bad boys popping up. It's enough to give Longsong Fortress a serious headache. The boy finally connects the dots. With a bang on the table, he announces he's staying put in Border Town for the winter. Everyone's jaws drop at his decision, and the knight scrambles to convince him they're outnumbered by monsters. Our hero fires back, suggesting they build a wall from the foot of North Slope Mountain to the Redwater River. But the knight ain't buying it, and waves it off as a pipe dream, saying it'd take them a lifetime to build such a wall. My guy leans back, telling the knight to chill. He promises if he can't get the wall up fast, he'll retreat like everyone else, because he is not about to throw his life away in this place either. The riled-up knight finally calms down, pleading his loyalty to save our hero at any costs. At the bustling gray castle port of Clearwater, we catch a glimpse of the third princess. She remarks on the chilly ocean breeze signaling winter's approach, then turns to her knight, Rayon, asking about the return of their black sail fleet. He assures her they should be back at port in 3 days if all goes well. The princess notes this is their last expedition of the year and hopes it brings some nice surprises. Back in the palace, the knight wonders how she was already geared up for the throne competition her father sprung on them. She admits she didn't see it coming, but she figures it's all about paving the way for the king's favorite son to take the throne. Still, she laughs it off, saying being good at running things doesn't automatically mean the second son will win. She tells her knight to dig deeper and understand why she's sending out the Black Sail Fleet on this big expedition. After mulling it over, the knight realizes her fleet isn't just about making money, it's about gaining serious influence and power. Since launching the Black Sail Plan, she's rounded up skilled sailors, tough fighters, and key allies to back her play. This is Garcia Wimbledon, the third princess of Grey Castle. She is using smarts and strategy to secure her shot at the throne. The princess then asks about how their plot to off the fourth prince went down. The knight sighs and says there's been no word from the border, meaning their poison plan probably flopped and the spies they sent to do the job are missing in action. She figures her little bro must have wasted no time offing those spies once they got caught. Looks like the poison actually did its job and killed the fourth prince, but our hero just happened to swap into his body, which is why they think their poison plan tanked. She's now planning to kill the hero once he seeks refuge in Longsong Fortress, and tells her knight to sit tight until then. She also snarks that since the poison didn't do squat, it means that Snake Enbies, who sold them that stuff, was lying about it being colorless and tasteless. And as punishment for deceiving the third princess, she suggests her knight to hang that liar immediately. It's quite funny how she's about to drop the hammer on their reliable poison guy, even though the fourth prince really did kick the bucket from that poison. The next scene shows us Anna setting in the landscape of greenery, and there we meet her teacher Carl, who asks her what she is reading today. Is it poetry, or perhaps history of their church? The girl greets her teacher, and before she can say anything, her innocent image shatters before his eyes. He is left staring with wide eyes, and the next scene takes him to a rowdy crowd accusing his disciple of being a witch and the reincarnation of the devil. Seeing her hanging there, he slaps his hands over his face, jolting awake in his office. Once he's finally awake, he breathes heavily, haunted by the vision of Anna's hanging. He believes that if even a pure-hearted girl like Anna could be called evil, then those greedy administrative officials of Grey Castle must be true demons, born from the depths of hell. He angrily expresses that if they hadn't switched to lower-quality stones just to save a few hundred gold, the theater would never have collapsed, and those innocent victims would still be alive. In his eyes, those corrupt individuals are the ones who truly deserve to be hanged for their heinous acts and corruption. Sadly, this country didn't administer proper punishment to them. Instead, the blame fell unfairly on innocent stonemasons, resulting in harsh taxes, rampant inequality, little rule of law, and even labeling a curious and innocent girl as a demon and sending her cruelly to the gallows. He appeals to God for help in punishing these deserving evil people. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door, and when he opens it, he finds one of his young students, Nana, looking really worried and anxious. The little girl timidly asks if she's going to end up like Anna, hanged. The man quickly reassures her with a pat on the head, promising to protect her no matter what. He strolls through town, thoughts swirling about how the powerful have mistreated the innocent while he stood by. Determined to act this time, he vows not to let another girl suffer like Anna did. His attention is then drawn to a commotion at the town square. People are gathered around the quest board, where they're reading a notice posted by the fourth prince. It calls for workers for construction jobs in the border areas, gravel workers, stonemasons, and more. The notice details everything the applicants need to know. The teacher's eyes widen in shock as he sees the notice signed and stamped with our hero's name. That's when he remembers our hero, the fourth prince. He's heard rumors about the prince having all sorts of unique ideas and a personality that's totally different from everyone else. The prince also doesn't seem to be a big fan of the church, which gives the teacher a bit of hope. But right now, he's worried that supporting Anna, who is a witch, might get him labeled as a witch sympathizer and land him on the gallows as well. He's banking on the idea that if the prince hates the church enough, maybe he also hates their strict laws. That's the only way he sees to protect other girls from facing the church's severe punishments for being witches. We're back with our hero again, and his knight is questioning him about the dimensions of the wall he plans to build. Our hero says it'll be 15 feet tall and 6 feet wide, enough for 4 people to stand side by side on top. The knight then mentions they'll need to dig a trench as deep as a person is tall to stabilize such a massive structure. With the wall being 15 feet tall and 6 feet wide at the top, the base width will need to be doubled for stability. Even with 350 craftsmen working simultaneously on digging and building, they can only promise to finish before next year's months of demons. The prince curiously asks what the main challenge will be, which is taking such a long time. The knight explains that the real issue lies in laying the wall itself. They'll have to carefully select and polish each rock to ensure they fit together properly. Otherwise, the wall won't hold up well. The prince decides to move ahead with his knight's plan to dig the trench and build the wall at the same time. When it comes to laying the wall, he reassures his knight and reveals about Grey Castle's alchemy workshop producing a new thing called cement, which is bound to impress everyone. Naturally, the knight is all ears, because he has never heard of something known as cement in his entire life. In the next scene, we're outside the cement kiln room at Border Town, where we see both of them standing outside of the cottage. The prince explains to us that making cement is pretty straightforward because the raw materials are plentiful here. But the real trick lies in getting the calcination temperature just right. Sadly, he can't recall the exact temperature needed, and there's no way to measure it precisely in this world. Suddenly, the cottage door swings open, revealing Anna. Before the prince steps inside, our hero tells his knight to hang back. It's clear that the prince is using Anna's witch powers to create his cement, and she seems perfectly suited for the task. Before she heads out fully naked, our hero hands over his coat to her once more, and once she is out of the cottage, she eagerly expresses that she has done as her prince had asked of her. Inside, we find a heap of cement on the floor. The boy quickly checks the product to see if their experiment paid off, and decides to give it a try before producing at mass scale. Curiously, Anna asks where he plans to use the cement. The boy explains it can be used for building homes, bridges, roads, and more. He highlights how it will protect them from natural disasters like rain, heat, or snow that could otherwise damage their homes. He gives all the credit for the success of making the cement to Anna, recognizing her crucial role. Outside the cottage, they finally glue a few square boulders together with the cement, and both the knight and the girl are pleasantly surprised by the result. The knight can't help but marvel at this amazing discovery, while our hero inspects closely and is equally surprised that it feels much sturdier than what you would get from compacting ordinary dirt and mud together. The knight even tries to pry the boulders apart, but despite exerting all his force, he can't seem to budge them, let alone unstick them. The prince reminds his knight that he's been underestimating things because this stuff is better made than he originally thought. The knight is also amazed by this fascinating invention of sticky stuff that turns into solid rock in no time. He's pretty confident that with this, they could easily cover the entire border in 5 years. But our guy dismisses the need for such a grand project, saying even the tallest walls can't keep out enemies from within. Their first enemy is the fight against natural disasters to ensure their people don't end up homeless. He's determined to prove to the world that witches are humanity's most productive asset.